What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, December 5th. It is time for a market update here on the Coinzone. I'm your host, with Paul. That is what we like to do on Fridays. We're going to take a look at what is going on. We're going to take a look at some clips from Tom Lee. Okay, we're going to take a look at a clip from the Anthony Pompliano show. All right, at the desk of Anthony Pompliano. We're going to take a look at some posts from Vivek, Coin Bureau, Ash Crypto, and something big that is happening with Solana that I'm not surprised about. All right, so let's just get right into this episode, guys. I appreciate you for tapping in. It's Friday. Chief the Yorkie back with the old account. Love to see it. Friday with the good vibes. Love to see it. Chief, thanks for tapping back in. Make sure to hit that like button. And as you guys are joining the stream here, just make sure to hit that sub button as well. So just a couple things to run through. Chief, glad to see you got your account back. Love to see it. Let's go right over to Tom Lee. All right, so this is a repost. Crypto Wendy O. Shout out to her. She got a great channel. Tom Lee calls bottom. All right, so Tom Lee with the scary eyes right now. Pause in this photo. Tom Lee thinks that we have found a Bitcoin and an Ethereum bottom, and he believes that we are going much higher in the next coming months. Tom Lee, as we all know, Fundstrat, Bitmine, and Ethereum's treasury has been right about multiple predictions in the past. If he's right this time, then looks like we got a bull run coming up in 2026. But we'll see, guys. Let's just listen to Tom Lee in this clip. And we're also going to take a look at a Yahoo Finance article discussing what Tom Lee said as well. But in the meantime, let's just go ahead and listen to what Tom Lee says in this clip here.
We believe Ethereum prices have actually bottomed. Now, Bitcoin made a decision about 5 weeks ago to engage Tom DeMark because we wanted to understand what was happening with crypto prices. Now, if you don't know who Tom DeMark is, he's a legendary market timer. At Fundstrat, I've used him to call two of the major market lows, the March 2020 low and the April tariff lows. Those were all in coordination and consultation with Tom DeMark. And Tom only has 2 clients today. We're his second client. And he's very expensive, actually. Tom has advised us to dramatically slow our Ethereum purchases. And as you can see here, once we engaged Tom, we took a different strategy with regard to our Ethereum purchasing. And you can see our Ethereum purchases fell by half to 50,000 a week. But we've begun to buy Ethereum again. You can see last week we bought almost 100,000 ETH, twice what we did 2 weeks before. And I will give you a hint, we definitely bought more than that this week because we believe Ethereum prices have actually bottomed.
Okay, so let's just trade it and let's go over to Coinbase real quick. Bring back up the background music. What is going on today, guys? Okay, we're going to get to something that's going on with Solana in a second. Looks like Solana is down 7%, on par with others actually as well. ADA is down 7%, Doge is down 7%. Okay, ETH is down 4%, Bitcoin 3%, back under 90K. For the moment today, Hyperliquid almost down 10%. Yeah, I mean, the market's red, guys. Things aren't really happening too nicely right now. However, if Tom Lee thinks that we have found a bottom, I've also heard many other people share the sentiment, then that is a good news for the entire space moving into 2026. Ash Crypto, breaking news, $500 million of USDC has just been minted. Please pump the markets, he says. That is a little bit of hopium. Now, I just want to focus on this chart for a second and a half here, guys. Okay, this is from Vivek. Crash is temporary. Global M2 is exploding. Bitcoin will follow soon. Now, let's point out something and be completely honest and address something here. A couple months back, yes, the Bitcoin chart and the M2 money supply chart were extremely on par, right on par. But as we can see here, M2 money continued to explode and Bitcoin dropped down. Now, some people think this is manipulation, etc. I don't have the answers for you guys. We're just looking at this here live on the stream here. Now, do I believe because of the amount of liquidity and global M2 money supply expanding, liquidity coming to the US, investments, There's so much happening right now. Do I think that we're going to see Bitcoin pop back up? Absolutely. I really do. Every time we have liquidity come into this space, that's exactly what dictates massive upswings, all-time highs, etc. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Quantitative easing. Okay, Jerome Powell is going to be out as a Federal Reserve chair soon. I really do think there are a lot of very positive things to take a look at right now in the markets. Now, let's go over to this article real quick by Coin Edition. Yahoo Finance also had a ton of articles covering Tom Lee's latest remarks. Let's get right to this. This is about 9 hours ago, guys. Updated today, December 5th. Tom Lee calls crypto bottom. Bitmine backs 62,000 Ethereum forecast with a $130 million buy. Okay, so Tom Lee, the Wall Street strategist turned crypto bull, issued a definitive all-clear signal for digital assets this week, asserting that the bruising market correction has found its floor. If you guys don't know who Tom Lee is, I mean, if you followed us here in the past before, we've talked about Tom Lee a ton of times. Or he's basically the Michael Saylor of ETH at this point. Was a big Bitcoin bull in the past. He still is, but thinks there's more upside with Ethereum. So if we've truly found a bottom, that means we're going up from here. Speaking at Binance Blockchain Week in Dubai, Tom shared by Lee explained why he believes crypto has already passed its most painful stretch. According to him, the market pullback that began in October created exaggerated pessimism, with many investors preparing to capitulate. And we are seeing that, guys. A lot of people are completely down on their investments right now. Lee argued that recent market weakness was largely due to aggressive deleveraging rather than a structural breakdown. I mean, we saw a lot of liquidations, guys. He pointed out that similar pullbacks have been resolved, in 6 to 8 weeks in previous instances, meaning the phase is almost complete. We're almost done with that, heading into Q6, 2026, Q1. Jesus, I can't talk this morning. You know, it could be that we are going to see things dramatically shift to the upside in a couple months. People are saying that February, March timeline, we could see things start to go crazy again. It's a lot of things to focus on right now. All right. Now let's go over to Anthony Pompliano. This is just going to be the second clip I want to play for you guys on this Friday. Again, if you're just joining the stream now, guys, I appreciate you for tapping in. As you guys know, this is the Coin Zone. I'm Crypto with Paul. Make sure to give me a follow on X. Subscribe to us here to the channel on YouTube. We're putting out videos all day, every day for you guys. So make sure to tap in. From the desk of Anthony Pompliano, a great podcast. QT is ending. QE is coming. Quantitative easing. And this guy right here, Jeff Park, all right, CIO of ProCap BTC, Bitwise Invest Advisor, very interesting, went on the show and explains what will happen with asset prices here soon. So let's just get right to this. I'm going to play this clip again real quick for you guys, okay, of Jeff Park on the Anthony Pompliano podcast. Let's take a listen.
I think QT ending on December 1st is historic. And it was well telegraphed, so no one should be surprised that it ended. But I think it's historic because, in a way, it really, really signals the beginning of a new era of what the role of the Fed is in the monetary policy toolkits it's been able to build upon since. So we used to call the Fed the lender of last resort. And I think what we're now going to have to admit is, with the adoption of the standing repo facility that's been put in place during the QT era or thereafter, where it is essentially now the lender of continuous resort, right? I mean, just yesterday on December 1st, it was tapped for close to $14 billion, like for liquidity purposes. Like the day QT ended, the Fed just intervened. It used to be a big deal. And now the Fed just intervenes every day. So the role of monetary policy that is now being conducted in this regime, which is basically what, when Fed governors talk about the ample reserve system, is like, this is the future of the Fed. We don't want to go back to a scarce reserve system. We're not going to be in an abundant reserve system, but we're in this now ample reserve system where we have now believed that $6 trillion is like the right amount of balance sheet capital for the Fed to be maintaining and actually having unlimited capital on standby upon the request of the banks. And that means you're basically muting the possibility of there ever being like a financial crisis. You're muting price discovery and liquidity discovery. And so Yeah, I think QT ending alongside having the standing repo facility in place is a totally new regime. And this should matter to most investors because historically, those who have looked at the Fed acting as a lender of last resort to step in when there's tremendous volatility in the market, the structure that we have now inherited is that we may not really see that kind of volatility again. Like something will break differently. And it will have to break, I think, much more astronomically because of the capacity for what this means. And in that sense, it doesn't surprise me that the equity market will continue to go up. If you really think the whole play for a while was you needed the equity market to kind of participate in price action where you saw liquidity breaks, like we're just going to see less of these liquidity events.
Does Bitcoin go up because QT ended?
I think Bitcoin will go up when there's another acronym that comes out of the Scrabble board that the Fed has to rediscover to create a new emergency and intervention program. And I think part of why QT ending is a good deal is because now everyone can go back to the drawing board and figure out what the next thing is going to break.
Yeah. So shout out to that video, guys. Let's pull up the background music real quick, shift over to some other gears. So that is, I mean, I honestly have to agree with him. Okay, we talk a lot about the Fed intervention. Donald Trump talks a lot about Jerome Powell, too late Powell, right? We have the new guy who possibly is going to replace him, Tom Hackett, I believe his name is, who is aggressively calling for market cuts. Will we see that again here in December from JP? Hard hat Powell, too late Powell before, I guess he exits. Maybe. I think we will. I really think we will. Kalshi is predicting it. Kalshi is also predicting, I believe, 40% recession odds at this point. Let me try to find that measurement from Kalshi. I'm not sure if I retweeted that. I might have it here. Excuse me. Kalshi is actually predicting a $100,000 Bitcoin before the end of this year again. Yeah, we'll see, guys. I mean, we have three and a half weeks left, if that, right? If it doesn't get there, it doesn't matter to me. Like, zoom out. I don't even care if it doesn't get there in Q1 of next year, because you zoom out and things are just going to go the way it has for 15 years plus. Okay. Now let's go over to a quick post from DZ. Actually, shout out to Discover Crypto. Shout out to DZ. Bear market over ? How? Has Bitcoin already fallen for 1 year? Yes. Priced in gold. Bitcoin has a traditional 4-year cycle, but not only in USD, but also gold. In 2014, Bitcoin fell 87% against gold over 404 days. It's 13 months. Did something very similar in 2018. Bitcoin fell 83% against gold over 364 days. 2021, 75. Now 50% over gold. So as we see, that goes down and down and down. Bitcoin will 16% less than previous drawdown, giving us a 59% decrease. 59% drawdown gives us 17 ounces of gold per Bitcoin, currently 21. Very interesting to see here. DZ always with the charts. Love to see it. Shout out to DZ. Okay. So that is what I kind of think is going to happen, guys. We have a lot of individuals who are not so bullish right now. Chief, I know yesterday you said maybe, we're in a bear market. I believe you're a little bit more bearish, right? I see a lot of people in both camps here. Are we going up again at all soon? Some people say no. I keep mentioning Leah Halpern. She's a good example. I believe she took a lot of her profits. She's waiting for a new all-time high in 4 years from now. I just don't think that's the case. I think we're going to see a new all-time high for Bitcoin at some point in 2026 because there's too much liquidity. We're seeing people take their gold profits, which is now beating the S&P over a 30-year period because of the gains from this year alone, starting to take some of that profit and put it into Bitcoin. It's too much capital. And again, guys, do I have the other tweet pulled up? Let me just get to it real quick. Again, and this is what we covered yesterday, but it's good, again, just to show exactly what has been going on in the last couple days, couple weeks, etc. So let me just pull this up again for you guys. And we are just going to go right over to it. Hold on a second. Okay. We showed this yesterday, and I'm just going to show it again. If I can freaking find it. Come on, bro. First of all, yeah, a lot of things to talk about today, guys. But listen, in the last 72 hours, in the last couple weeks or so, Vanguard, Charles Schwab starting to get in. We also saw the bank, one of the central banks of Canada is now actually really, really heavily getting into Bitcoin. Love to see that. We're also actually seeing the UK, which has been, I mean, very, very hawkish and putting a lot of regulations in the space now. This is breaking news now. All right, let's share this tab instead. Let's get right to this, guys. So the UK's Bank of England has proposed a regulatory framework for systemic stablecoins, paving the way for fiat-backed coins that could be used like money. That's a major win for real asset tokenization. And it is for the UK as well, especially a place that we're seeing over 10,000 people this past year go to jail for tweets. Okay, the UK is becoming an unrecognizable place with some of the legislation, and it's pretty sad. Now, this is something that's pretty crazy as well. The IMF just came out and made a statement about stablecoins. So, just staying on the topic of stablecoins. They said stablecoins can weaken central bank control. Yeah, no shit. The IMF warns the dollar-pegged stablecoins, which make up 97% of the market, could trigger a quote-unquote currency substitution. Boo-hoo, cry about it. That's the whole point. Treasury Secretary Bezant says this global demand helps support U.S. debt financing. You know, we've seen Russian Vladimir Putin's right-hand men make comments about this, thinks that the United States is doing something a little crazy. You know, bro's allowed to make those statements. In a second, we are going to take a look at what's going on with Solana. I promised you that. And here's that tweet from Ash Crypto. I just wanted to go over again real quick. Okay, let's just recap. Okay, if we're going to discuss what's going to happen in the next coming months or so, we have to look at what's been happening in the past couple months or so. Okay, so not only in October we had the biggest liquidation event in history, but what has happened since then, since these prices came crashing down over 50% in some cases again? The Wall Street has just pulled off the most coordinated move since 2008, and the target was Bitcoin. In just 9 to 10 days, $11 trillion of Vanguard opened Bitcoin access to 50 million clients. JP Morgan filed leverage BTC notes. Goldman Sachs bought investor capital for $2 billion. Bank of America let 15,000 advisors recommend up to 4% of Bitcoin in their portfolios for an allocation. 4 financial giants with $20 trillion in assets. Okay, Ash Crypto goes on to say that is not a coincidence. While retail panicked and sold 3.74 billion in November, the largest monthly ETF outflow yet, institutions quietly built the infrastructure to absorb it all. Weak hands to strong hands. You hate to see it, guys. And you know, this is exactly what we're trying to preach on the channel here. This is never financial advice. But the advice that I always try to give out to you guys is just to zoom out and relax. Okay? Also, the upcoming MSCI rule changes for forcing 11.6 billion in forced selling, the Nasdaq expanding IBIT options 40x to suppress volatility. Bitcoin didn't lose, it got taken over by Wall Street. Now, this is why some individuals that I speak to absolutely don't like Bitcoin anymore. Okay, Bjorn, the bullish bear, just a quick hello from Crow fam. Have a great start to the weekend. What's good, brother? We love the Crow audience here on the Coinzone. You guys are always show up for us. We have our 2 Crow interviews that we did. Well, 1 Crow interview, 1 really big interview that, or video that blew up for us about the Trump situation with Crow. Shout out to crypto.com, making amazing moves, doing really good things. Bjorn, I appreciate the comment here on this Friday. Power to you, brother. Hope everything's all good. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it, guys. Personally, I'm still very bullish. That's just my 2 cents. And I got my hands diamond. I'm not selling. I'm holding. I'm zooming out. It's all good. Now, let's just kind of talk about what the heck is going on with Solana. Some news that came out this week that I am not surprised about. Number one, before we even get to this Humidify situation, okay, there is now rumors spreading that the Solana phone has vulnerabilities and you can get your seed phrases, your wallets hacked, etc. Okay, so if you have a Solana phone out there, I actually know someone who has one of the Solana phones. Be a little cautious. And now we have this as well. Breaking. Humidify says its public sale, which happened, last night, was swept by a bot farm that used thousands of funded wallets to snipe the entire supply within seconds. Okay, the wet drop, leaving regular participants unable to buy. The team will launch a new token, distribute a pro rata airdrop to wet list and stake buyers, exclude the sniper, and run a new public sale on Monday using a revised DTF contract built with temporal and audited by OtterSec. This is all sounding very confusing, but at the end of the day, guys, none of this should be happening. You know, you guys know, if you're with me on this channel here, how I feel about Solana. I like Anatoly Yakovenko. I think he's a smart dude. I enjoy him. I enjoy listening to him. However, I just don't like Solana. I don't think it's a secure platform at all. It isn't. And we see stuff like this all the time, guys. Like, I'll give you an example. Right now, Cardano's about to launch Night, the Midnight token. Do I have any fears that anything like what we just saw with Humidify can ever happen on Cardano? Not at all. We've never seen anything like it. Not a single hack has ever happened. Never went down. We just saw a couple weeks ago how robust it is after it was hit with an attack and the chain didn't go down. Decentralized the stake pool operators and, Emergo and the founding entities all came together and squashed it out in 2 seconds. But with Solana, a team goes to do a token launch and some wallets freaking hack it and steal all the funds from it. And now they have to do a completely new one. That's insane to me. That's absolute insanity. So if you're going to play in DeFi, if you're not a Bitcoin maxi and you believe in altcoins and you're looking for ways to earn yield or maximize your profits and you play around in DeFi, again, yeah, sure, Solana's great. You can make a lot of money. But you're taking massive risk, guys. Not only massive risk because it's some random ass project, right? And you might not even know who the team is, the developers are, etc. But you also have these risks of hacks, of getting your wallet hacked, losing your funds. This is crazy. Personally, I don't get why people just interact with these things all the time, because you see stuff like this happen. Could you imagine being so hyped for this token launch, and then all of a sudden it comes to fruition and some asshole just with a bunch of wallets just hacks the entire supply and the company has to go relaunch and do the entire thing again? Let's click on Humidify real quick. All right, 23,000 followers. DeFi 2.0, sure. Yeah, you're doing real good so far. Again, I'm not trying to hate, guys, but this is just insane. And look at the way that they address this. Starting off the first line, cursing. Some real dry shit happened today. Is that seriously? Humidify started 6 months ago from nothing, straight from the trenches of DeFi 1.0. In those 6 months, for Solana USD, we started quoting tighter and doing more volume than Binance. We did not kiss any ass or bend the knee to anyone. I'm just not a big fan. For the public sale, a bot farm sniped the entire supply instantly in veterans. Okay, we're not able to participate. So the community that you built up didn't even get to participate at all in the token drop. I shed some real human tears and crashed out. All right. I hope everything goes fine. I hope they're fine. I hope Humidify is fine. I hope any investor who kind of got scammed by this ends up being fine. But at the end of the day, guys, I just want to point this out because you got to be careful with what you're engaging in this space. Solana's a huge project with Wall Street interest, institutional interest. But some of these projects being built on top of it, especially Pump.Fund, what we've seen come out of there, it's mostly scams and it's mostly pump and dumps. Or it's mostly tokens that are just going to be down 95% forever. It's hard to see, guys. Just stay safe out there. That's my two cents. That's my advice, guys. Again, we're taking a look at all angles inside the market update here on this Friday afternoon, December 5th. You're tapped in with the Coinzone at the moment. I'm Crypto with Paul. I appreciate you guys for joining and kicking it with me right now. If you're viewing right now and you haven't subbed to the channel, that's crazy. Go ahead and do that for me. We're trying to hit a goal, guys. 3,000 subs before the end of the year. So help us get there. Just make sure to hit that subscribe button for me if you enjoy this content. Hit that like button as well. That's basically it. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about here with you guys. If you're a Solana holder, let me know in the comments. If you were going to participate in this token drop, let me know what happened, your experience with it. And also let me know what you guys think of the videos that we played just now. The Anthony Pompliano from the desk of and the clip of Tom Lee. Do you guys think Tom Lee is crazy? Let me know, be honest. Tom Lee is calling for a $62,000 Ethereum. Not in 2030, like soon, guys. If you think that's crazy, that does sound crazy. But Tom Lee knows a lot more than me. He's a very smart guy. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see the next coming month. So if you want to stick around and see if ETH hits that $62,000 mark, make sure to sub here on the Coinzone because we will be covering it. Chief the Yorkie, that is crazy. It is crazy. Crazier things have happened, though. All right, been in the space for 5 years. I've seen insane things happen, good and bad, shockingly. So stick around. We'll see what happens. Once again, you guys know this is the Coinzone on Crypto with Paul. Like I said, make sure to sub to the channel, like this video. I'll see you guys again a bit later, and that's about it. Shout out to Tom Lee. Shout out to Anthony Pompliano. Quantitative easing. Shout out to Hard Hat Powell. We'll see what happens with rate cuts later this month. But we'll be back later for another coverage of some more news. And that's about it for me. I'm Crypto with Paul. I'll see you guys again in a bit.